run, let's chase success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to our show this week, guys. How are we all doing? Annie, how are you?
I'm doing great. Don't worry about me. So I'm more. Welcome back, Sherry.
Welcome.
Sherry joined my show yesterday, but she didn't get to speak, and it really upsets me when someone joins and doesn't get to speak because they fell off the stage.
Oh, welcome back,
Let's talk
Sherry,
to
and
let's talk to
welcome,
Sherry. Let's talk to
Anita.
Sherry. No, Sherry is the one I want to hear from. That way, I can stop feeling guilty.
I'll just zip it. I'll just zip it, not a word.
Oh, everyone, it is a pleasure to be here. And Christiana, you are you're a mentor to me, and what you're doing is truly you're saving souls. I truly believe that. And so I wanted to thank you. Thank you, Annie, for having me here. And aloha, Lisha.
Thank you for saying so, Cherry. It's so wonderful to have you here. You know, it's been a little while since you and I connected, but it's always a pleasure to have you in any room. Always a pleasure to hear your voice and hear that beautiful accent of yours too. I hope and pray you're well. It's so kind of you to join us. Thank you for joining us today. Yes, what can I say? This for me is something that is so much close to my heart. It's a mission for me. It isn't just any just a series or an event. It's a mission. The mission is to really help those that struggle with this trauma to get to better understand and navigate their journey without the fear, without the shame, without the guilt, without any of the negative connotations that is associated with this, with this trauma. So thank you very much, Cherry, for being here, Lisa for being here, and of course our superstar producer, as I like to call him now, the godfather of LinkedIn, Eni Osong. So yes, thank you. I can see that Alexis is here. Alexis is here. Zara is here. My goodness. Hello.
Hello, Calm. Hello.
Hi, Calm. Welcome, Zara.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. How are you doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
Great. You sound calm as usual. The name
I
suits
certainly
you.
appreciate it. You recognize value. I am very, very happy that you do.
You know me.
You heard that snickering in the background, didn't you? Yeah.
What snickering? I can't hear it. I mean, they're not here really. Let's just pretend, right? Calm.
Yes, it's just us, right?
Ignore them.
Between you and me. No one can hear us now. So welcome, Alexis. I just sent you the link on your LinkedIn DM. We would love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Miriam as well. Thank you for joining us. Hi there to you too.
I got my link from Christiana. Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
I got my link from Christiana.
That's perfectly fine. I don't care where you get the link as long as you're here. That's important. So given that I was beating Christiana up. I was saying your friends don't turn up. I'm not having it. She's like, they do turn up. They are, right? So Janet's here, Miriam's here. Thanks for talking about this crucial topic. We're going to talk about
Lisa's here.
And maybe lots a lot more. So excellent. Now, so I'm glad you're all here. Anyway, look, mine's quite simple. If you want to write a book, publish a book, sell a book, then I can help you with all that. If you want to become a bestseller, I can help you as well. Sorry, I have to go get my link.
Do it now. Do it.
Mike is here too. Excellent. Welcome all of you. Right. So this is my latest book that just came out today. I just got a proof copy today. Before We Die, our final chapter. So we're launching this book for Scots next week.
Epic.
It's my best book yet, Christiana. It looks so gorgeous, and it's not even the final copy. So it's a better version.
I love the green.
Yeah, I love the layout. I love the latest. This is my best book by a mile. I'm so chuffed. Anyway, lead me to enjoy my book. I'm gonna do a post about it later. Now, if you
Annie,
need
let's see
help,
the
yes.
green, the color of the book.
I don't choose this thing. My author friend chooses this thing, right? No, we just create the cover for him. That's what he wanted. That's what it got. So welcome, Linda. We'll see you too. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, Linda. Welcome.
So I need you all to now to join us and buy the book at launch price next week. You see, this print book is gold. Really, this is gold, really. It's on Amazon for
Yes.
£50. £50. Yeah, Christiana. Zara looked up. Zara was like, what? Huh? Yeah. We don't want you to buy the print book, Zara. We're trying to put you off. So we have to make it inflated. So next week on the 17th, it's going to be 99 cents, so 77 pence to buy your copy for the ebook. Come and buy it. That's what launch price looks like, Zara. We got to talk.
Zara's face.
I was at your launch show last week, and it wasn't that price. Why no one bought the book? That's what happens. There's a way to do book launches, and we'll do book launches every month, right? That's how we make our friends bestsellers. Anyway, and not talking about me. This show is all about you and Christiana, so I should let you do your thing, Christiana. So listen to your music in your head.
Me.
It's not me singing to you, so I'm not singing.
To listen to.
She's dancing to you.
I'm going off stage, Christiana. You do your thing.
Stay right where you are. It's okay. So, welcome. Please tell us in the chat where you are joining us from today. If you're on replay, also tell us where you're joining us from and where you're watching from. Okay, we always like to know so we can give you an extra shout out. Welcome, guys. As usual, we are here because we are here to talk about miscarriage and baby loss. But in particular, this week's topic is one that it's a big one. It's a big one for a lot of those who've been through miscarriage and baby loss will understand what I mean. I always talk about a gentleman who wrote about his story, about remembering his lost loved one, his son. In this case, 24 years after he wrote about this, and when he wrote about it, it sounded like he was still experiencing or reliving that trauma, like it happened yesterday. And so over the past week, I was taking some downtime because a friend of mine passed away last week, Monday. And it was so unexpected in the sense that we all thought that this person was doing really well. And we saw him the day before, and by the morning of the following day, early hours of the morning, he was gone, passed away from cancer. And so it reminded
There's the disaster. We're frozen, Christiana. What's happened? It's not me. It's on your screen. Oh, now I have to talk, right? Christiana, you still there? Probably not. Okay. So I'm sure she'll come back again in a second. Normally we can hear you. We can't hear Christiana. Okay. Look, I'll do my best to hold forth until she comes back. So I guess our topic is triggers, as I understand it. So we're going to talk about triggers, the things that re-traumatize people who experience baby loss and miscarriage. I guess there are triggers everywhere, I can imagine, right? I guess some are unavoidable and some are just part of life. If you think of someone pushing their baby in a pram down the road, for example, so that could be a trigger, right? That could bring back the memories of the loss. I can imagine there was signs in places. Whether something like a mother and baby changing room sign that could also upset someone. Whether that's in a shop or in a restaurant, for example. I suppose the question to ask really is what do you see as what do you know? What do you believe are triggers? and what can we do to reduce the trauma that I guess we cause, whether inadvertently or by intention of doing what we're doing, and almost not thinking about those who might be affected. That's the question I think we want to answer today. I mean, look, there's 9 of you on stage. Is it 9 of you? My math's not that good. Three, four, five, seven. All right. Seven. So there's 8 of us on stage. Christian is 9, right? So let's try and share as quick as we can. Let's share and give others a chance to speak as well. So I'll try and go through the order as best I can. But and if I may get the order wrong, so you can just jump in and add to a conversation if you choose to, my friend. Lisa, you're the first one, so you're the first one in. So I'll give you the mic. I'll try and remember who was who. I probably won't. Go on, Lisa.
Hi, Emmy.
How you
Hi.
doing?
I'm really well. How are you today?
We're here, right? That gives me joy. If my host was here, I'd be even happier because I wouldn't have to be talking.
It's always the way that whenever something great is going to happen, we have all the technical issues in the world. So
Exactly.
she'll be back soon. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
she will come back. I'm sure she'll come back. Look, share with us now what the triggers. Now, what comes up for you?
Do you know anything? I feel that every day is different. I felt that when I was going through it, there were days that I was stronger than others. There was days where and I'm going to keep it. This is a safe space, right, Annie? So I'm hoping I can speak freely without judgment. But there was days I just felt real envy because of my challenges, what I was going through, and then seeing beautiful, healthy women pregnant was a real struggle for me. In hindsight, for me, back then, I didn't have my faith to lean on because I didn't have a relationship with God at the time. But I think if you were to ask me now, I'd probably say I would, I'd want to share the burden. I'd want to speak about it a bit more. I think at the time I didn't have a network of people that I could speak to about how I was feeling. So you tend to internalize a lot of your feelings. You tend to and I think that's partly to why I struggled so much. I think now having a relationship with God, as I've mentioned, I'd probably had the opportunity to pray about it and speak quite openly and frankly with him. And I think I'd probably focus a bit more on self-care. What I'd probably try to do is focus on my wins. And by that, I mean, okay, I may well not have been pregnant at the time, but I may have had a great week where I don't know, I've eaten well, I've slept well, I'm just happy with my journey in that particular week. I've slept to the point where I am, this is a tough one, and I feel as though I'm just kind of like shooting from the top of my head, but I think I definitely would focus on self-care way more than I did before, and probably not dwell and wallow so much about what I didn't have and try and focus on what I was going to have, like focus on the hope and how I can try and get myself closer to my journey than trying to sort of use that energy in focusing on, women that were pregnant. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Of course, it's easy to look out and think, like you say, well, what we don't have. I mean, this must be the biggest thing that we work towards. If you look at it that way, put the work in, they get pregnant, and then disaster happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to add as well that as much as I said earlier that it was a time where I felt a bit envious. I was actually pregnant at the same time as one of my best friends, and she went on to have a beautiful bouncing baby, and I'd lost mine. And interestingly, as much as you have love for your friend and you are so pleased that it worked out well for them, you do still have that kind of like, oh my gosh, why me? Why didn't that happen for me? That moment. So I guess when I'm speaking of envy, it's not to the point where you want to cause anyone harm, but it's just you just have that moment of internal reflection, like why wasn't my outcome not successful as well?
Yeah, make again. We're all human, right? And I guess the point of the conversation today is just those things that just give us, that little feeling that takes us back. Which it can shake our foundations for a bit, for a moment. So it's not always that we break down and then fall apart. So no, but it's just that icky feeling we get, the reminder that it's just like wow, and then we have to kind of collect ourselves again. But I
Yeah.
do like your point about that we have to find the strength within ourselves. We have to build ourselves to be a bit more, a bit more resilient, a bit more, I guess, a bit stronger. But now self-care essentially will make us a bit stronger to at least be able to face, because many of these things, they're just part of normal day in a more normal life, right? Like saying the person with a happy baby going down the street, that's going to happen every day, right? There's not
Mhm.
much we can do about that. But we have to find a way to come to terms. Does it come to terms? It's always hard to know what word to use, right?
I think, I
People
think
show,
acceptance of what's happened
yeah,
also.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
accepting what, because sorry to cut you off.
No,
I
it's
think
fine. It's fine.
I missed the question, but I came in at the end. Unfortunately, my laptop said I had no internet once again. I missed the question, um, Annie and Lisa. But really, when you think about it, it's about really accepting what you've been through. The first step of
Mm,
anyone moving forward, or having any kind of movement, and I wouldn't say healing because you don't totally heal from this, but it's about accepting what's happened,
mm,
and the one way of accepting what's happened is really getting to have the clarity to understand why and what's happened, and then to then take that with the confidence and saying, I've been through this. Now I know I'm going to have, I mean, for me personally, the simplest things like smelling the smell of a newborn baby would trigger me. It would trigger me. And so it was really having to tell myself, yes. So some of the things that I would tell myself, at least I got pregnant to begin with, right? And I know that I have no baby here to show for. There's no evidence, it's like to say, to show for the journey that I've been through. It was about really the acceptance of the gratitude in the journey that I had had and the experience I was still going through. So that helped pathway to enable me to start to think of how else, which other space can I occupy, and to accept what's happening. Accept that other people are going to have their own children, are going to be pregnant. I'm going to see with pregnant women. What am I choosing to do? It's about, again, thinking about your choices. What are you really not choosing to do? I once met somebody who um, developed agoraphobia simply because they did not want to leave their house to see other babies or to see a pregnant person. Now, I'm speaking of the extreme. That is extreme. Don't get me wrong. That is extreme. But I began to unpick how they got there in the first place, and the journey, and their journey specifically, was the fact that they had not accepted that that had happened. They did not spend the time to think of how they can remember their baby or the lost loved one. And that type of journey means that you're not able to truly accept what's happened to you. It's almost still living in denial. Okay. And at this point, it was 6, 7 months later. That is not to say you forget the journey, but it's not to say you devalue, the experience. Of course, you validate it, but it's about accepting it first. Once you accept what's happened to you, then you can begin to think about or fathom how you want to navigate the journey. So I'm going to pause there for a moment. But thank you, Lisa. I caught the end of the conversation and the end of what you were saying. Um, but I really wanted to begin this, and like I said, I was saying before I got thrown out of my my own laptop, was having had that experience of grief and losing a friend a week ago and feeling so numb. It brought up different feelings and different emotions, for me personally. But more than that, I was in a group of women um, a week before our friend passed away. And we came back to the conversation of miscarriage. Again, miscarriage happens to 1 in 4 women. So in a room of 10, 20 women, you're going to, in fact, in that room, what I discovered was it was 1 in 2 of us had experienced miscarriage or miscarriages. So I began to ask the question, what was experienced? What had they gone through? And the thread that ran through the whole of us, there was about 15 of us in that room, and the thread that ran through was the fact that people still had triggers. People still felt, for some, they couldn't go to things like baby shower, and that happened because we had a baby shower last Saturday, and we were thinking about this. I kept thinking, what was it like for me? What was it like for the other women? And the triggers like being face to face with a pregnant woman, triggers like, smelling a newborn baby, triggers like being online. And as we know, research shows that social media has become a major space for a lot of, for most people. I can say from my own personal story, when I went through my own experience, I took to social media to find answers. I was so frustrated with not getting answers or not having clarity, not knowing, who, what, why, and when. And so I took to social media. Not sure it was helpful, but I did take to social media. So it can do one or two things. It can either help you to understand other stories, or it can cause you to become more boxed in a situation, to internalize what you're going through, and to struggle with what you're going through. For example, the person I was talking about before, where they developed agoraphobia, not just because of the baby loss, but there were other factors. But the main part began from the fact that she couldn't leave her house because she didn't want to see any other pregnancy. She couldn't bear see the thought and the sight of seeing anybody else who was pregnant or newborn babies. She wouldn't go to any spaces, cafes, hospitals. She couldn't leave her home full stop for many months. And so I began thinking, this is something that we're speaking about. Why not bring it to my show? Why not bring it to this event? Why not bring it and talk about it? As you guys know, I like to speak about things that nobody wants to talk about, right? Or it's difficult to have conversations about. And that's the reason why we are here this evening. So I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for each and every person here, today. Thank you for your support, for continuously showing up, and for supporting this community. I absolutely do not take you guys for granted. And I love this space and I love you guys. So thank you. That is my gratitude to you guys. Thank you so much. Back to the show. In terms of just thinking about triggers, so we've got, again, talking about this conversation or discussing this last weekend. It was really about, in which spaces do women, men also experience triggers, experience triggers. So the research shows about 15% of men will experience triggers when it comes to miscarriage and baby loss. Now, remember, on this show, we speak about and have spoken about men being the focus when it comes to miscarriage and baby loss, as well as women, because it's a two-person journey. And so both parties must have the opportunity, must be given the opportunity, must be able to express, themselves equally where possible. And so men do also experience triggers. Now, for me, it was about which spaces. So we look at online spaces, we look at in person, we look at around our families. How and where do people experience this? What are they being exposed to? And don't forget that when you are exposed, for some, you become re-traumatized. Okay, to begin with, miscarriage is a traumatizing experience, and I'm sure we all know this by now. It is. And so when you are re-exposed or exposed to triggers, that in itself means you're going through or re-traumatizing yourself. And so we begin to think, in which spaces do we see this? The internet is a big one, like I said. The internet, there are so many stories, whether Instagram, TikTok, even on LinkedIn, and all the social media handles that I can even not remember right now to mention. So I want to ask the question to Lisa, to Cherry, to those who are on the stage who've experienced a miscarriage. I'll come to those who haven't at the moment. When you are going through your experiences, what were your triggers, and where did they come from? So what were you like in those spaces when it comes to triggers? What was it, a triggering point, or what would trigger you off? You know, um, I will start with Cherry to begin with.
Mm. Aloha. Um,
Yeah.
my experience maybe not typical of others. I was in a domestic violence marriage, and
Mm.
so shame was something that I kept to myself. When oh, k- um, when I was um, had I I had miscarriages. I had multiple miscarriages from unknown infertility, and I did really well in keeping them uh, hidden, repressing those feelings. Um, and then I went through in vitro uh, fertilization, and I had my two daughters. Um, and so I honestly didn't go through a grief process, a mourning process. Um, and then after my two daughters were born, um, I got pregnant, which was unheard of because I had always had assistance with the fertility medications or procedures. And I was uh, six, actually 7 months pregnant, and I had a stillborn. And this was during the time where I was leaving the domestic violence. And um, I'll tell you what my experience is, that I went through the mourning and the grieving after I left my marriage, and it just like hit me like a ton of bricks because I was um I was mourning it and grieving all of my losses, the marriage, the miscarriages, my stillborn, and uh I didn't realize that honestly the most traumatic um I have PTSD healing that I will ever go through, I believe, in my life is the grieving of the loss of the babies. And um as far as triggers, um I actually really didn't have them because, again, keeping the shame to myself, and the guilt that um I wasn't worthy of being a mother. But right now I'm just here to support any and everyone, the mamas and the papas, and thank you for giving me um this time.
Wow. Thank you so much, Cherry, for that share and for being brave enough to speak about your experience. I'm sorry you had to endure that. And whilst you were speaking, what really was going through my mind is, re-traumatizing yourself. So there was so much to unpack there, literally going through what you're going through and then your losses. And I can appreciate you not looking at triggers because there was so much to deal with. you know, from one, the loss of any pregnancy, any miscarriages, stillbirth, that in itself is very traumatic. Let alone when you are going through domestic violence in itself, that in itself is not grief, and then to add a divorce to it, it's. I want to applaud you. I know for me, I've heard your story so many times, but I do want to applaud you for where you are today and for being able to journey and to come out of this end. And I'm sure, as I say, it takes a village. It's taken, so much work and so much acceptance. And I think that's what I was going to ask you. When it comes to the loss of your baby, at what point, and did you ever consciously think, I've got to accept what I'm going through? Was there any form of acceptance from your perspective?
Thank you. I honestly will say that when I had my stillborn, um, that that was the reason why I left the domestic violence, because I think that was my epiphany, or my I just knew I had to take care of myself and my two young daughters at the time. Um, and that your resources are more than, honestly, I could say, in the US. I live in Seattle, Washington, and I'm not saying that there is not support, but then again, I am saying we need more of your support, because honestly, a year ago, when I met you on the LinkedIn audio rooms, I thought,
Yes.
why why is there not, and not even like assistance into the depths of, taking care of the parents, the mother and the father.
Mm.
um and uh I was really surprised going through the in vitro with both my daughters, the that there was no support with miscarriage or stillborn. And I shouldn't say no, I feel bad saying this, but I need to be honest with my experience, that you really are a godsend for me, because I searched out um the help that I needed. And boy, the I had no idea how much hidden, repressed grief that I had to go through. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for saying that. I really do appreciate that. And I must remember that you've been with us for, yeah, when this show began. So a huge thank you for always supporting and always showing up despite what you may be going through, despite what you've been through. And it takes a lot of courage to move forward. You know, we speak about miscarriage and baby loss on this show. But when I think about your journey, your story, it's one that I am, when I think of you, and I speak about you, I always have a smile on my face because it's been a journey for you. And here you are, um, alive, first of all, able to tell and to share your story. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing. I'm going to move on to Lisa, and I think I'll come on to Zara after that.
Hi, Christiana.
Hi.
Do you know, I just want to firstly say thank you so much to Cherry for sharing, because I think what I've definitely learned along my journey, that us sharing our stories is so powerful and it's so supportive to people. We speak about the gaps in terms of the support that we needed. And absolutely, I just want to say ditto in terms of thanking you for your platform, Christiana. But I also want to just say to Cherry as well that just through sharing your story, it, like, you might not realize it, but it makes such a difference to people who don't have a voice, who are just kind of listening in and struggling. And I think, yeah, it's just amazing to hear from her. So thank you for that. But yeah, so Christiana, I was actually sharing with Annie a little bit earlier just around some of my triggers. And I kind of touched on the fact that one of my best friends was pregnant at the same time as myself. And so that was quite tough, losing my baby. But I remember it felt as though whenever I went out anywhere, whether it's a supermarket or whether or not I was not in my car, but commuting somewhere, it felt as though every pregnant woman in the entire world came out of somewhere and happened to be in my view. It was just unreal, you know? It's similar to like when they say if you buy a car, you know, you'll see the same car over and over again. I just really felt as though I was being consumed by pregnant women or young babies. So that was a real trigger for me, but also as well internally, the relationship that I was in, my partner had a young child, and so that in itself it put me under a bit of pressure, if I'm honest. Not being able to conceive and also losing my, through losing my baby through miscarriage, it made it very hard for me. I was quite fortunate. I had a really close relationship with the baby at the time. And in actual fact, it transpires that it was some of my healing came through just spending time with him. And it sounds bizarre because you would think I would just recoil and just not want to be anywhere near him. But actually, I did the opposite. I couldn't not really, because we spent weekends together. And it was extremely healing for me to kind of just spend some one-on-one time with him. So that's kind of, I guess, something I want to share.
Thank you so much. When you were speaking, I kind of thought about that resonated so much with me because I know the sight of pregnant women, and for me it was the smell of babies, really did something to me. And it was about resetting my mind and asking myself deep down, why was I feeling this way? What was it? And I think oftentimes we don't ask ourselves that deep questions like why. I had to really dig deep. Why was that? And as we've mentioned on this show, is that thing of feeling the inadequacy. Why did that terrorize? I felt like I was being terrorized, like you said, Lisa. I was being terrorized when I go outside. There's just all this pregnant women walking around. How dare they, kind of thing. Didn't say that, but it felt like that way. Then you had babies, and going into any appointments, whether it's hospital appointment or clinic appointment or walk-ins. For me, the risk of having to see or smell a newborn baby or a baby, I really couldn't fathom. And it was until I sat with myself and asked a deep question. So what you said resonated with me, Lisa. And that's the question and did the work. Why does it bother you so much? Why does it turn you off so much? It's because of the shame we carry. It's because of the fear we carry. It's because of what we tell ourselves in those moments, the negative self-talk that we give ourselves behind closed doors where no one sees us, how we speak to our own bodies, and it took really having to sit down, pause in, and quieten the noise to really hear what I was thinking and feeling deep down. So I do want to say thank you for sharing, and I completely understand and get it. Thank you so much. Is Zara still with us?
No, Zara's not with us. No, she had to go.
Has she dropped off?
Amos keeps coming in, but falling off. So
Oh, bless him.
So next time he comes in, let's give him a stage.
Yes, please.
You might mean interrupting someone, but bear with us, my friends. So let's go to Mike. There are a few comments, but let's go to Mike. And then Carl might come back as well.
Yes.
Mike, the mic is yours, my friend.
Hi, Mike.
Thank you. Hello, Christiana. I can't speak specifically to miscarriage trauma, but I have other traumas I can certainly address, and particularly about triggers. I think it's really important to identify them first of all, and
Yes.
if you can figure out, as you just said, what is causing it, because sometimes, like that smell of the baby might not initially been a connection for you immediately. So once you identify that, then you work on, okay, what do I do with this, right? And I wanted to touch base. I don't remember who said it, but the one thing you don't want to do is isolate yourself. And this is why I am so glad you're doing these talks and your service, because I think if we isolate and pull within ourselves, then you magnify the shame. I believe when you're able to share the pain, it is halved or more. Um, I don't even know how to explain it, but when I've been in groups dealing with trauma, there is something that you get to feel, it's not just you, and there's a lot of comfort in that. I can't explain it, but that's what I've experienced. And also when you're sharing, somehow a burden is lifted. And again, I I don't think we can discount how much what your own sharing has done for others. And so yes, there's a benefit to you, but there's also tremendous benefit for others. Um, and then it's just like, I think this is a form of grief. When you're dealing with miscarriages, and so all of these things that you would do to address grief are pertinent. And I think the one thing we forget is this is not like a one-time deal. That you can be down the track for years, and all of a sudden, maybe even a different trigger, but you get triggered, and you may have to go through that. To your point, that re-traumatization, even, and I think the one thing I was going to say is, if you can, in a safe place, talk about the trigger, kind of expose that feeling in the safe space, so that I believe over time, at least this has been my case, is that the power of that trigger recedes. But I think it's really important to be in a safe space, be with people that have gone through what you've gone through, or at least be part of the trauma uh, healing space, and you have that safe, supportive space to help you deal with the grief and the healing from your trauma. That's what I got.
Thank you so much, Mike. Let me take the opportunity actually to say I'm so sorry. My deepest condolences for the loss of your friend recently, and childhood friend. That must have been. Yeah, I'm sure you have stories to tell. I'm sure you have stories to tell. But my condolences to you and obviously their family. Thank you for your share. I do agree with you when it comes to any kind of trauma, any kind of loss. It's really about not internalizing the experience, not internalizing what you are going through, what you are experiencing. It is good to take the time to ask yourself, because before we can share, before we can speak to others, we must first be able to speak to ourselves, you know, because that enables us to speak up, speak out, and share. And that's why I mentioned.
Let me pause you there because Amos is back.
Oh,
You know, his
great. Hi.
internet is so flaky. I
Hi,
don't just say.
Rena.
You come back.
Hello,
Hello. Welcome. Good to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. Regards to
Great.
everyone there. Greetings to everyone. Amos
Great.
from Uganda.
How are you doing? Can you hear me, Amos? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, he's muted himself, so his connection really is
Well,
fleet.
Oh, it's
Go on.
hello, are you? Can
Yeah,
you hear
we
me
can
now?
hear you.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah. We
we
heard you
can
first
hear
time, so we can hear you.
you. I was
I'm
asking, how
very
are you
great.
doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Christiana, and greetings from Uganda to all of you members of this team. Glad to be here again. I've been missing you, missing to be here. Hello, how are you?
Yeah,
How are you is over there?
it's been a while. It's been a long while. So today we're talking about triggers because I know when you first came to our space or our room, we were back then linked in audio. So it's over a year ago now. I know that you and I've kept in contact since then.
True, true, true.
I
I've been a bit
remember,
busy and
yes, you have.
sorry.
For those who don't know, Amos is a lawyer back in Uganda, so he's always working on cases and can be quite, I said, quite difficult to pin down, to pin down, for want of a better word. But when you first came to us, you came to this show with such a traumatic experience, and I for one was so pleased that you were able to come and so um, vulnerably you shared with us what you had been going through, your experience, and like I said, you and I connected after that, and we maintained communication since then. But I'm looking
Uh,
back at what you shared with us, and I remember you'd been through 6 miscarriages or more,
yes,
and I wanted tonight this conversation, if only if you're comfortable and you're okay with this discussion, today. And also, it's always great to have a male perspective that has been through the journey of miscarriage and baby loss. Um,
yes.
for insight, I'm always open to learning new things because no two cases and no two miscarriages are the same. And so tonight's about the triggers. Tell us about
True.
either yourself or with your spouse, triggers for you. What were the triggers? Where did you find those triggers? Were they in person? Was it online? Like, what were the triggers for you? And how did you navigate those triggers before you came to us or before you and I met?
Christiana, sorry, I have my internet is breaking, but I want to appreciate you and the team here, and regards those other people. I mean, our colleagues who have joined this wonderful team. Uh, I'm called Amos Orena. Uh, I'm from Uganda, but I was so pleased when I bumped into this conversation. Having been a victim of the same, and I felt that this is the right way to go because there are many people who have completely lost themselves. Some of them have even changed their mode of life because of failing to get an opportunity like this one where somebody can air out the challenges that they face. Personally, I lost 6 kids. These were miscarriages from the same spouse, and this is the same spouse I am having up now. We managed to go and go through very, very, very trying moments, especially with the community which we're living. Even back home, where people would look at us and pity us. Others would blame my wife. Others would blame me. Why am I still keeping the same wife when there could have been other opportunities to change or leave out this one and get someone who could have given me kids? This is a very, very bad moment that if you are not a strong hearted person, you may disappoint because both of us are parents. My wife also needs kids. I also need kids. And we're always trying to struggle to say that we have kids. But this challenge came. We looked at God and we said, no, I think God is trying to test us to see how strong our love can go. We ignored every person around who was talking about negative things, blaming us, and we focused. We say, no, neither of us is at fault. We visited so many hospitals and we seriously lost these kids one after another, one after another. You could look at a colleague with whom your kid your wife conceived at the same time, and the other kid is growing, is going to school, and you lost. Then after that, another one comes. So it is serious issue that Christianity at the time I was very happy, and even I said no. This is something which should not only end on a conversation. It is something which should be expounded, and with this wonderful team here, I think we can do something great to save the world. People are broken. People have lost their inner self because of this, especially when a spouse is not strong enough, Christian enough to look at and keep around. Many people have lost marriages. Many people have left work and got frustrations. So for my case, when I was working with a government institution, when I lost all these kids, and it was very unfortunate and very touching that my level then I was at a lower level. When I was working with I was a civil servant. At that time, when I lost the first child, I was a kid. I didn't know, I was so young, and both of us were young. We didn't know how to deal with the situation. I asked management, those who were supervising me. I said, now I've lost a baby. Then I wanted to take this baby home because naturally here in Africa, we buy this, we bury at our cemeteries, in our ancestral areas where we hail from. The supervisor was then he was not very helpful. He told me to bar around, and being that we were young and we were working from a far place, I had to pack this baby in a box, and we moved in a private van up to home. None of them knew what we were carrying up to home, and we had to bury this baby. But painfully young as we were, after a short while, we returned for work. I returned for work with my madam. I took her to hospital. She got treated. After some time, she conceived again, and the story repeated. We lost that one. Then in the middle there, we had another one. That one is there. Then There's the one who followed the third one. We lost that one. Then the one who followed the now the first one also we lost. Just like that, we lost 6 kids. Christiana, it was worse. People could gather around because now Amos, I think we are tired of coming hearing that you have lost kids, you have lost kids. Make a decision. I just ignored them. I looked forward, and God helped us. We have children today with the same wife. Mm. The same spouse. We have been together to date, and we don't have any other challenges which is giving us our children now. We're trying to struggle through, take children to school, and they are studying. Those ones that manage to survive around. Otherwise, it was a very, very serious issue that in the African culture, when they see that is continuing, there is a way they look at it, either they think it is a bad omen, and it actually breaks. So I kept on talking to my wife, and I said, no, God will give us a child. And indeed, He gave us the children. We never broke. Otherwise, every person who has gone through this knows how painful it is to lose a child. Getting pregnant is another thing, and losing a child is another thing altogether. So, Christiana and team on this call, I am just like I made a request the other time that this thing should be expanded if the means are there, because there are many people. This is a virgin place where people are silent. They don't know what is the next journey after that. I think I might say I should end here, and then maybe from there after other people's reactions I can always contribute. Thank you, Christiana.
Thank you so much, Amos. Your story is one that I really have to pause and listen. I've heard your story before, and the first time I heard it, it literally sent chills down my spine. And it wasn't something that and it still not, my camera is not working. Can you see me, guys? No, can you see me? Can you hear me?
We hear you, but we can't see you, Christiana.
Oh, what is going on? Just bear with me, sorry. Oh, technology. We just love it.
We can hear you.
My apologies. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. So as I was saying, so your story seriously sent chills down my spine the first time I heard it last year. Oh. And I'm so pleased that you guys kept, you kept the faith, you kept together, and that took trusting in each other. It took listening. I always say block the noise out, block everybody else's noise out, and focus. And like I said, we've remained in conversation since last year, and I know where your heart is when it comes to this work and this area, and something that we will talk about after the show. But I know exactly where your heart is when it comes to this and what you want to see. The same thing. So we share the same thoughts. We share the same mission. And the only thing that we need to do now is look at how we accomplish this mission. So really, I'm saying this to say, I truly, truly, I'm so grateful and so appreciative of you taking the time to still support and still come and share your story, to tell us what you have been through. Let's say from a male perspective, when I'm speaking to, you know, people like Calm, people like yourselves, who have been able to come and share with us, because we don't get to hear a lot of men's stories. I do because of the work I do, but generally, publicly, we don't. And on social media, we don't really, so thank you for coming to share. And I want to understand, no, I want you to understand this. I really want you to remember that it isn't any other person's journey. Your journey is your own, it's unique to you. And nobody else can tell you how you navigate that. Even in my practice, I cannot tell my clients how they navigate their journey. I can support them in reaching the decision. I can help them with clarity. I can help them with gaining the confidence to move forward. But I cannot tell you what to do. And so time and time again, I hear this, people making suggestions, or people saying, "Oh, why can't you this and why can't you that?" When it comes to our communities, especially our communities, we can sometimes be um, insensitive. So I'm sorry that you had to experience the insensitive part of your journey. And it also comes with lack of understanding, lack of education, which is what you and I have spoken about before, in that many people still lack the you know the education. And the reason why this topic of triggers is been spoken about, one of the conversation, what came up in the conversation we've had about a week ago, was the fact that when it came to triggers, people expect you to want to be over, like, you get over this situation. It happened 6 months or 12 months or whatever months ago, or how many years ago, or how many years has it been? One of the comments I was made was, how many years has it been? As if to say, why are you still talking about this same, you know, topic? Why can't you just let this go? It's done and dusted. Don't keep bringing it up again. But the reality is, we have to keep talking about this to normalize speaking about our experiences, because we still have people who are truly suffering, you know? And when it comes to triggers, nobody can tell you that it is unexpected, it's predictable when or where you are going to experience a trigger. So as I'm saying this, Amos, if you're still here, I want to find out from you, and if you're able to, and if you're not comfortable with it, it's fine. Did you were your triggers? What did your trigger look like from a practical perspective? When you remember what happened, what in what spaces did you feel triggered to remember your experiences?
Hi.
Is Amos still here? The network is not working. If Calm is still here, then I'll go to Calm if you're okay with speaking. If you're not, I understand.
I'm okay. I'm
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
Christina.
Thank you.
Thanks. Um, we it was traumatic because at the time I can't even recall the name of the procedure that we were going to do. We're having it was a difficult pregnancy. It was hard, and it was our first. And it was kind of like almost right at the very end. We needed to go. We, my wife was indicating that the baby was there's a lot of pressure and a lot of pain, and we went to see the doctor, and the doctor suggested we had been there multiple times for the same similar issues, but they wanted to go through the term, and I believe though, and this is me in hindsight, I had no idea. I believe that they were thinking, the doctor was thinking that my wife was an African, and maybe she could go through with all these pains and things that were going through that she was going through, and this
Sorry,
is her
can
first.
I just pause for a second? Were you
Yeah,
going through an amniocentesis,
we were
which is
about to
when?
go through an amniocentesis because he wanted to
Okay.
make that suggestion, and we did. We took that suggestion, and we were warned not to do it. When I was on the way, I was going back, because that's exactly what we were going for. And I was warned as I was leaving. The secretary that was at the front desk at my workplace, I let them know why I was leaving, and I had to go through, talk to my boss and talk to the secretaries, and just this is why I'm leaving. I'm not going to be back for a little bit. Hopefully it just goes smoothly, and then I come back. And when I picked her up, we went to the doctor's. He started doing the procedure, and before we even started, I remember asking him the questions. Have you done this before? And he had indicated that he had. Sorry, Christiana, I've got to leave right now. I'll talk to you later. I have to
Okay.
exit right now, so
Okay. Okay.
talk later. Bye.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Calm, for at least wanting to share with us. I will definitely check in once this show is over. So, Emmy, over to
Uh,
you. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Oh, if Amos is still here with us, feel free to
uh,
speak.
uh, yes, Christiana, you were asking something like you had a question saying that, what are those triggers that
Yes,
the
for
triggers
you,
that will all right for me?
and for
Just
your
like any
wife. Mhm.
just like your any human being, there are many things you can remember, especially when you expect your family to have been bigger than what it is now. Whenever
Yes.
you run through, you start now looking at this child, say now there could have been another person or another child here. And if you see this one is at college, you
Mhm.
do have an assumption that the other person, the one ahead of him who passed, could have been higher than this. Mm. So those things keep on coming, 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 and sometimes, well, you end up even sharing it to the children. You say between you and her, there is someone who was hit there. Mm. Those things can't miss out. They can be said by by the both spouses. They can share that to others. Even other neighbors can say, now, why is this child so young to follow this other one? Then you go narrating about on the same. Say between this other one and the other one, there were this number of kids, or that's what happened. Now those things can't run out from uh, the family that faced that. Mm. So the triggers keeps on coming and out, in and out. It's very difficult to control them. They will always come there, but they also help you to manage it. When you remember, you can't forget it completely. You can't forget it. Most of you can never think about it, but if you discuss it as a couple, you break off that fear within two of you. That you say, I wish our kid was to be here, would have been here. Then the other can bring it and you say no, but let us push this one to that level. So those triggers keep on coming in and out. They are very, very, very painful, but you have got to go by it.
Yes.
So
Thank you
when you
so
keep
much.
on talking, yeah, when I came across this conversation, Christiana, and I want to appreciate you and your team,
Mhm.
that this was something which could have even gotten earlier before if someone had come with this innovation. And
Mhm.
it is this situation makes someone so emotional. If you are not strong-hearted, you you can't feel for another. You may find yourself sometimes you deprived of your inner self. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I truly, like I said, I do not take this community for granted, and you guys being here and sharing your stories and having this discussion. You know, it's something that needed to be done. It began because I didn't find on have a space to, I guess, navigate my journey. I did it all on my own with support of friends, and some friends didn't understand it, and so on and so forth. Those who hadn't been through it, but it was predominantly having to sit with myself and have that conversation. So, Amos, I want to really thank you for being here, and we will definitely have a conversation because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and not everybody is sure of where to start, where to begin, and how to move forward. So that's the reason why we are here, why we exist in the show. So I'm going to pause for a moment and let's look at some comments. Welcome, Joan. We will come to you in a moment. Let's look at comments in the comment section. Sorry. And Lisa, thank you for also still being here as we go through the comments. Are you muted?
I'm always muted, so let me do that again. So I have to welcome superstar
Hi,
Lisa
Lisa.
for
Dr.
joining us.
Lisa.
Yes. And also Miriam, all the way from Germany. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
So I appreciate your time that you spend with us. Well, the amazing Sharon Rose is dropping an amazing comment. So, that's definitely one to learn from. So she learned this week, this term, this week, without knowing having a name for it. It's something called broken heart syndrome. Also known as, I can't pronounce that word.
Cardiomyopathy.
What? Stress cardiomyopathy. Is that T word I can't pronounce? I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's a heart condition that causes sudden weakening of the heart's muscles or pumping function, and it's triggered by extreme emotional or physical stress such as grief, fear, anger, surprise. So all the things I guess that triggers bring along, right?
Especially when they are recurring triggers, yes. So definitely, and that's the thing. I think we have to keep remembering as humans, there is so much that the body can go through. There are so many things that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what there is to. And I'm saying this to say, where and if we can prevent us having to go through these things, let's do that. Let's not have to find out the hard way. Let's start having conversations. Let's start reaching out for help. Let's start being honest with ourselves. Let's begin that step that takes us to reducing, eradicating these conditions that leave us in a bad state, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. Thank you, Sharon Rose. Um, Once again, my screen is playing up because I cannot fully see the other part of the message that you wrote down. Um,
But she says, I imagine it felt like your body betrayed you. I felt that way when I was unable to breastfeed my prem twins who needed to eat every 2 hours.
Her twins are so gorgeous.
Excellent. Yeah.
They're not tiny anymore. They're like, big girls now, but they're just so cute.
Well done, you, my friend. Well done, Sharon Rose. It says,
Well,
grief has no expiration and it's not a linear process. That's so true,
no,
right?
it isn't. It is not. Seriously. And this is why we're speaking of triggers today, because we may think, and I remember this from when Paulette was speaking about her experience. When someone said something about it's been a year now, and I had to really remind her and reassure her by saying it doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter how many years, how many weeks, how many months it's been. Your journey is your own to begin with. Secondly, you can go through a trigger point at any time, at any moment in your life. When it comes to miscarriage and baby loss, when it comes to grief, you can be triggered, you know, and nobody has the right to tell you how to deal with your grief, but also how to remember or what triggers you. You cannot have anything to say about what triggers me, because what is triggering for me may not be triggering for the next person. And so none of us have the right to tell each other what is supposed to be triggering on this journey of miscarriage and baby loss. So thank you, Sharon Rose, for your comment there. And as I continue to talk about this, I'm looking at it from a perspective of, it's a total spiritual worry. it's something that when I think about this, we look at online. So I began this talking about announcements, and Lisa give us a perfect example of how announcements can trigger us because of her friend disclosing and both parties being pregnant at the same time. That in itself is triggering, can be triggering. Because when you watch somebody else experiencing the evidence, the joy that you should have had, and as Sharon Rose hit the nail on the head by saying, you feel like your body betrayed you. Because now you're watching somebody else whose body did not betray them, but mine betrayed me. Why couldn't I do that simple thing that women can do? As we tell ourselves, forgetting that to become pregnant and reach full term is a miracle in itself. So again, it's about accepting our experience and knowing it's our own experience and owning our experience, but not forgetting to label, the emotions we go through, and not wanting to move on so quickly, or not wanting to pretend that it's not happening when it actually is happening. So let me move on to social media and why social media plays a huge part in triggers. We may sometimes watch people. Let me look at what Sharon Rose said. Empathy or sharing releases the energy and trauma being stored in all of yourselves. Yes, that's so true. It does. I agree. So back to social media. Social media, as I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, hi Rosemary, from this conversation, can really trigger us. Hi Titilayomi, can really trigger us. It can be one of two things. It can either be really positive, hi Curtis, really a way of reminding ourselves to express what we're going through. Or it can trigger us to the point where we do not want to even begin to think about that journey we've been through. You have those who are telling their stories, depending on how they've told the stories or what they've been through or how they've experienced miscarriage or baby loss. That in itself is trigger. So we must be careful in the spaces we find ourselves when it comes to the online space. Because if you are in a space, for example, a miscarriage and baby loss space, and perhaps your experience is recent, you may still be raw. So be mindful of how you're entering that space. I also mentioned earlier, one good thing is to really sit with yourself and ask yourself the question, why do I feel these emotions I'm feeling? What is deep down underneath this emotion or these emotions? What is it I'm thinking about myself? What is it I'm telling my own body? So really think about social media and also think about, some people don't think about this, think about when you are watching something on social media or when you search, for something on social media, the algorithms will store in their memory what you search for, and therefore it becomes recurring. It will show you those things that you're searching for, and that could be a triggering factor for you, but you may not factor that in your search. So be mindful of what you're searching online and what stories you're reading, because the algorithms will keep showing you those things that you're reading online, and that might cause you even further trauma. So don't forget, our triggers re-traumatize us. Okay, I'll repeat that. Our triggers can serve to re-traumatize us when it comes to miscarriage and baby loss space. Sorry, Annie, can you put back that last comment from Sharon Rose, please?
So start with this one, and then I'll go to the next
Oh.
one. So just past,
Mm.
when it's the anniversary of my dad's passing, and the conversation about baseball and stats triggered me because he'd been, taking me to games, secret summer mass lessons, and then she says, bypassing us is super dangerous because the feelings don't go away; they just get stuffed down and then surface unexpectedly and in an outsized kind of way.
Thank you. So sorry to hear that. Or sorry to read that, Sharon Rose. And this is what I spoke about earlier on, the unpredictability of the spaces that we find ourselves in, the exposure we find ourselves in, that triggers us. Because triggering, it's so unexpected, it's so unpredictable. You just sometimes don't know what or how you will be triggered. Because at the end of the day, we are still humans. We don't always have control over what lands with us and what doesn't. So this is why I say to you, when you are on social media, be mindful of the searches or the things you're reading, because the algorithm will serve to keep replaying and showing you those things that you perhaps don't want to don't want to entertain. Sorry guys, give me 2 seconds.
Oh, I've got to speak. I try not to speak.
Well, I can speak.
Go on, Joni. Go on, the mic is yours, my friend.
Hi guys. A bit of a stressful day here. Just movers showed up too early. My house arranging furniture showed up too late, and I've had it. And I know at least Christiana knows I have lost 2 children. Like not super late term, but 12 weeks. It was a girl and a boy. And one a girl, and then the next pregnancy was a boy. And the boy I lost I went in for my DNC. I don't know if that's the term she was looking for, but basically my body did not abort the baby, even though it was not alive. So they like put you to sleep and like take the baby out. And then they can do DNA testing to see the gender, to see, if it did have any, mismatched alleles. I always opted to do that. And that's just my own curiosity. But my boy who I lost was on Halloween. And that Halloween, I had to do that alone. I had to do it alone. So because my ex wouldn't take off work for that. And that I will never understand that. But I went home. It was Halloween. I got my kids ready. I made chili. And then he was like, "Do you want to come trick or treating with us?" And I was like, nah, I just was in the hospital asleep. I definitely don't want to do that. I'll hand out candy. And I remember this young couple came and they had their little cute daughter dressed as Piglet. And they're like, "It's her first Halloween." And I was like, God damn. I didn't say anything, obviously. But I really love Halloween because it's such an American holiday and the kids get so excited about it. And then they're done with it by, 6th grade. So I try to really embrace like the joy of it, but it definitely does still trigger me. And then my daughter, who I lost, was January 21st. And I don't know, the dates still resonate with me. And so maybe that's a little bit of a trigger. And the fact that my ex-husband doesn't remember the dates at all, like there's nothing, it was like nothing, like, okay, miscarriage, whatever. And I'm silly and emotional, not silly. That's absolutely the wrong word to say. I am emotional, and I still want to think of these two maybe children that I could have had. And I think I mentioned this before, but my dad's pretty straight up narrow. Like, it's just, he's not super emotive. But he told me, he was like, "Joni, just because you have 2 other children," he was like, "honestly, that probably makes you imagine the life you could have with these children more so. So don't let anyone say that because you already have children, at least you have 2 that are alive. Don't let anyone say that to you and let them hurt your feelings because you were already imagining them like trying out for softball or whatever." And it was one of the kindest things my dad said to me ever.
Oh.
And so, yeah, and I have great children, but it does, Halloween triggers me just because, like, parents are so excited for their first baby, and then triggers me that my ex-husband doesn't remember the dates. At hospitals, I've been to multiple things with anesthesia, so I don't mind that. But the laissez-faire that the nurses treated me with, like, okay, you got a miscarriage, whatever. I'm like, no, this is all I wanted. So that is, that's it. That was a little triggering, and I am much older now, but and I cannot have babies, so yeah. And I was going to tell Lisa, I think I'm going through a perimenopause, but my doctor's like, when did you hit puberty? I'm like, I don't know exactly. You don't know when you hit perimenopause. I'm like, well, something's going on. So I was going to talk to Lisa about that. But anyways, anyone who suffered the loss of a baby, whether you had kids or you were just trying for your first, like, heart is with you. And you know what? They should bring a fucking casserole over for that day. Get so many when an actual baby is born, but not when you're hurting. So just a word to the wise. Okay.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you so much. You know, when you were speaking, I definitely was thinking about, you know, when it comes to hospitals, or before we go into hospitals, we're looking at social comparison, you know, and the disenfranchised grief. When you think about how people see your celebrations, or you see celebrations online, and the announcement people make, the bumps, you know, some people happen to put the photo of their bumps, the pregnancy is what I mean by the bumps, on their status, on their Instagram, their Facebooks. I mean, I'm not a Facebook person myself personally, but I hear these things. I'm on Instagram, but I hear these things too, and I see these things. For some, that's a trigger because it
It is
intensifies
a
that feeling,
And you
right,
don't
of
want to like
unfairness
harm
and a bit
people.
of jealousy. Do you know what I mean? But also, it minimizes just your own grief, and can minimize your own grief. Not for everybody, but for
And then you
some,
just
it
like
does
shy
that.
away from social media because you just don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. Like when I had
Yes,
kids,
and you want
we
to make
never
yourself
did a gender reveal. We
invisible
never
to
did that.
others.
My kids have been
Because
to
why
5
would you want
gender
to?
reveals. Anyways,
Yes,
I think I shied
and
away a lot
many
from social media. I definitely did.
and many personal things. Yes.
Oh no.
Can't hear you, honey bun.
Yes, you've got mute again.
You're mute.
You're mute. It's your earphones. Take your earphones out. You're
Just
mute.
try the sign language you've been teaching your kids. Come on. More. More. Yay. Granddad.
No,
Yeah.
try again. No. No, yeah, it's your laptop. So you're gonna have to restart your device.
Well, it could be connected to the Bluetooth. Just turn Bluetooth off on your laptop.
I like that. So turn your Bluetooth off and see if that works. Are you frozen now? No, that still not worked. You don't know how to turn your Bluetooth off. Yeah. It's not working. Okay. I know it's not. I can hear you say it's not working. I can see you say it's not working. I can't hear you.
You have easy lips to read.
So welcome, Selena. I see you. Thanks for joining us. Sharon Rose says, Joni, the gentleman I was speaking with had a dad who did the same. It was unexpected and nostalgic. So of course now, so Sharon Rose says all the good things. Joni, you are amazing. Thanks for sharing. We hear you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, life has given me some of the worst and some of the best. Like I'm like, I take the best, but you have to like acknowledge the worst. And so, yeah, I think everyone should be really curious about other people's pain and other people's joy, to see how they tick, because we're all so individual, and that's an important thing. Because some people can get over it, a miscarriage easily. Maybe they aren't, but they present that way. And I tried to present that way because I had 2 little girls I had to take care of. But yeah, it stunk. It was not fun, and I remember them for sure, for sure. So yes, John and Elizabeth. I know. I even named them. That's ridiculous. But can I tell you guys?
You haven't found your voice yet, Christiana.
Okay, so
No.
I have a story to tell you
now.
guys.
No, I can see you, but you can't. I can't hear you.
What type of laptop do you got over there?
I tell you,
You get this from the gas station?
I tell you, she's been in bed by now, right?
The petrol?
Honestly. Anyway, no, Joni, you can tell us your stories. Then let's go to Calm.
I'll tell one story. All right. So this girl I went to high school with, when I went to my small high school, which was all girls, and in high school she was very, very thin. She just like had some major anxiety and anorexic tendencies. So fast forward to 28, whatever, she wanted to get pregnant. She couldn't IVF, and then she got pregnant with twins, and the twins were delivered at 23 weeks, and it's one of the youngest, both twins, to survive. And both did survive, and I don't think everyone's so happy for her that she was able to have these children, but people don't talk about how tough that is. And so I saw her at my 25th year anniversary. I'm really dating myself. I'm 43, graduated 18. Okay, so shush. And but the children, who are basically my middle daughter's age, so 8th grade, and they look like they're 7. They were born like this big, and they act kind of like they're 7, like a little bit. And she spent at least 6 months, maybe a year in the NICU, keeping them alive, and they're alive, they're thriving, they're fine, but not like in a way that you or I would be like, yeah, they're socially normal and like healthy and like have good muscles and could try out for sports. So that's just another thing I kind of thought about, because I've had so many friends go through miscarriages, and she finally didn't, and now is dealing with a whole nother struggle. So yeah, and people on social media like comment on her kids, like, oh, like, did you make your girl into a pageant princess because she's so beautiful and petite? And I'm like, don't restart the whole thing. Like, that's why social media can be very, very hurtful. So yeah, I don't know why people say those type of things. Like, just stick to your own business.
No. Look, social media is a weird place for everyone. So doing what I do, for example, I know someone complained once that I was triggering them. I think it was miscarriage week or something. Sunday, some month that's miscarriage month, right? And she got very upset that I sent her a message saying, "Come to our event about miscarriage and baby loss." I'm like, sorry about that. But sometimes I'm not always so nice. I think Christiana had to talk to her and make her realize it's an event that we do, because I don't always take nicely to people who tell me, "Don't send me an invite." I'm like, you're one of my connections. Stop complaining. I can't help you. Right? I didn't mean to trigger you. I mean, I'm trying to help you. Help everyone have a conversation about this topic. So people, join the people are just doing what they're doing. They're not thinking about anyone else.
I mean, honestly, like, I have had different not for a while, but I am thinking about, I'm really trying to think about getting back into it. Right now, my life is hectic. So I just sign on to see my friends. But a different type of podcast that may or may not work. Who knows? More about women in male-dominated fields and how housing is so important and kind of how it gives you identity. So, anyways, I did do I did a couple of podcasts, and Annie didn't show up for even mine. So you girls don't worry about.
Did you invite me, Joni?
Yeah, Rob.
No, you
yeah,
didn't.
bro, I did.
No, you did not. Where?
Yes, bro, I did.
You did not.
Not recently.
There's no link in my DM. There's no link to my WhatsApp.
Wrong.
So if you don't invite me, how are women to know? How are women to know?
All right,
Lisa.
whatever.
I'm going to Lisa. I'm going to mute you and go to Lisa.
Yeah. You go, Lisa.
Lisa, it's much more pleasant conversation.
That's a really nice Lisa spelling, like Lehigh Valley.
Don't worry, Lisa. You haven't come between us. Like, this is me and Jody.
We love each other. Don't worry.
Lisa, how are you doing? You've been here for a long time.
Yeah. Do you know, Annie, I actually have got to jump off soon, but I really want to hear from Calm before I go. He was cut short earlier, so I don't know whether or not we'll have an opportunity to hear more from him.
Okay. Mr. Calm, are you there?
Indeed I am.
Excellent. Okay.
Can I just ask Calm if he could just raise his voice just a little bit, because I struggle to hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
You might be able to hear me breathing too. But
it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay.
It just tells you that I'm alive. That's all. Yeah. So it was an amniocentesis that we're going to go through. And the doctor was supposed to be prepared. So we went into the operating room, or in the back of his office with the nurses, and he started. And while he was doing that, he left the needle in there, and he went to ask the other doctor. He was actually shouting from his room, asking his partner, how long were we supposed to leave the needle in there? And this is supposed to be someone who just told us that he was an expert and he had done many of these amniocentesis operations. And it was quite shocking. I mean, I was shocked just hearing it, and the amount of time that it took for him to get the reply back, the answer was, a matter of seconds. But by then, the damage had already been done. The baby had touched the needle, had, coiled back from it, and I'm pretty sure the sensation of actually getting that in that kind of condition was must have been extremely painful, because hours later when we returned home, the baby was not moving. We had to call back the doctor and say the baby's not moving. We had to go back into the operating room in the hospital just to find out that it was dead. So we had a stillborn baby. That was not very nice at all. I mean, the mistakes that were made, and the fact that we trusted him, and the fact that I got the warning, it plays back in my mind over and over and over again. I mean, I cannot get over this thing. Listening to all the voices that are out there telling you, giving you warning. Don't do this. Don't go down that path. And here you're desperate to actually figure out what's actually going on. It's very difficult. So, that's where we were, and that's what happened.
Yes,
and Christiana's back.
Yes,
she knows the rest of it, because we
yes, Christiana, we can hear you.
In the past.
We can hear you again.
Welcome
Sorry,
back,
Michael.
Christiana. I was just finishing off. I was just finishing off what what I had told you like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I just got done with it. It it's kind of hurtful. So I'll let you carry on from. If you remember, I'll let you carry on.
I want to say thank you for coming back. That took a lot of courage and a lot of trust to come back. This is the reason why we do what we do. And for me, this space is, I am number one, has to be a safe space, a judgment free space. And I bang on about it because it's so important. People are going through real life raw emotions many a times, and they're still coming into this space with the trust that they can come and be free without any judgment, without any fear. So I want to applaud you for coming back and for talking with us, you know. Um, and so it's really, really important that for anyone that is watching this on replay, know that you are not alone. Know that this space is a space that you are not judged. You don't have to, be afraid. And you definitely are welcome in this space. So thank you for sharing. And I know when I spoke with you and in the moments, Calm, that you've shared your story time and time again, what came through when I first heard your story was the guilt you felt for having experienced amniocentesis, for having gone through that journey. Nobody knows what's going to happen. As I mentioned, it's so unpredictable, you know, and triggers are so unpredictable. You just never know what is going to trigger you. And that's the reason why it's really important that we really take the time to be mindful of the spaces that we choose to expose ourselves to. And I'm choosing that word very carefully because it's an exposure of the space or the place we find ourselves that does trigger us, whether that be it's an announcement from a friend or a colleague, family member, or on social media in search of something, and then the algorithms choose to record and continue to display or show you those things. So we've got to be mindful. Today for me, it's really about reminding us to remember what triggers us and to be mindful of the spaces that we occupy, of the places that we want to find ourselves in. And I spoke earlier, during um this session, to say that I know somebody who developed agoraphobia after miscarriage and baby loss because they just couldn't face leaving the house and going out to want to from seeing someone else who perhaps be pregnant or to have a scent of a newborn.
I hate you so much.
Okay, so I'm not sure what's happening. Any?
They're talking. All right, I'm coming. My son is
So,
entertaining me with his evening.
yes, mute. You can entertain me also. Can
I
you have your
forgot.
mute, please? So I said that to say that thank you so much for sharing your stories, for talking about what you've been through. And Calm, I would like to speak to you again. Let's arrange a virtual meet. And I'm glad that you came back. Thank you so much for coming back. To continue your journey. And I'm sorry I missed it. This is technology at its finest. I was trying to join back with my phone, and my phone just wasn't even connected. It wasn't even connecting back on the show. So I'm glad that my laptop eventually took pity on me and decided to bring me back on stage. So my apologies for the disappearing act when it feels like such a pivotal moment of you sharing. Lisa, if you're still here, I want to say thank you for being here, for sharing. I know you've got to go. If you have already left, I can't even see the screen or see others. Annie, can you minimize my screen, please? Oh, Lisa's still here. Yes. Thank you so much, Lisa, for being here and for sharing and for always supporting this community. We'll definitely keep in touch. So we're thinking of doing something for the October, um, baby loss awareness month next month.
Mhm.
We'll keep you guys posted as to what's coming up, what's doing. I've got a show with two other professionals, actually, a mental health professional and a neuroscience professionals who will be discussing this with me. Discussing baby loss with me. But stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted. Thank you once again, Lisa, and I hope we will catch up very, very soon, before the week runs out. Take care and thank you.
Thank
Over
you,
to you.
Christiana. Thank you, Annie. Take care. Thank you, Calm
Thank
and Joey.
you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, everyone. So,
Bye.
Lisa, you're a star. I don't know why you don't join us more often, but thank you.
I aim to.
I keep
Honestly,
calling
I
her.
do. I love your
Calling her.
conversation.
We work on the side.
Thank you, everyone that's taking part. Halloween is Sharon Rose's favorite holiday. Sorry,
my
Joni. I know it triggers Joni, right? But that's
Yeah,
it's
but
even-
it's okay. Like, I really love it too. I just love the kids getting dressed up, and it's happy. It's okay. You
No,
learn
no,
to kind of like mesh those feelings. I'm not
in my house, Halloween is
damaged.
Halloween is the biggest party my wife has. Literally, it's a street party.
Halloween is the least of
Everything gets dressed up. Everything. So the house. She's got things now for Halloween. She's had them since February. So she starts building from there, designing stuff and designing the stage.
Sounds fun.
Neighbors come
I
to
would
town.
love you.
That doesn't trigger you, Joni. That's what I said.
I think I would love her. I like the energy.
Can I spoil the fun?
Can I
It's
ask
the least,
you, Christiana, one question on camera before you leave?
it's the least.
Well,
It is the least of my holidays. Least favorite of my holidays.
well, it's big in America. I mean,
It
ET.
is, yes. So commercialized over here. It's all about the money, the funding, and the enticing parents to do X, Y, and Z for children.
Well, I
It's
just
become a
get
commercial
mental lollipops
playground.
and sticks of gum, so it's all good.
What's your
I
question?
said each in a row. What's the question?
All right, my question is, after you have lost babies, I don't know if it was before your children or whatever. Would you still try to have another baby now?
That's a great question. One I'm going to reserve for later.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to put that out there. No worries.
She's pregnant.
What? Who?
I'm just saying, just in case you break the news. I'm hedging my bets.
Oh my goodness. Emmy, you were so
This is exactly the masculine toxicity that we are talking about. No.
The thing I just made an announcement. I didn't, my friends. I'm guessing, and then
oh my goodness.
hopefully, I don't know whether I'm wrong or not, but Christiana will tell us.
She does look very pretty. Pregnancy brings out prettiness.
It's the red. It's the red shirt.
I like it. Cute.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna.
So, my question to you, my comment to you is, let's finally get to actually get our call done.
Yeah, Joni, you owe me 2 books.
Joni,
my shelves.
let's get our call done. What is going on?
I know.
Anyway.
You owe me 2 books, Joni. 2 author copies of books for my shelves.
It's a lot going on. Right.
So
2 books for my shelves. There's a gap in my shelves.
Can I acknowledge Selena? Selena, thank you for being here. Okay, thank you for joining.
Sharon Rose, you're a star. Selena, it's never too late to join us, my friend Curtis. Thank you, everyone who spent your time with us. Rosemary as well.
We appreciate and love you. I'm going to say thank you for those who. Sorry, Annie. I want to say thank you so much for those who have reposted, reshared this event tonight. We love you guys for your continuous support. And I keep saying this, I don't take it for granted. I really don't. I completely am always humbled by people willing to do things without even me asking or mentioning. So thank you so much for your generous hearts. Yes,
and
tell
your
me.
generous time.
And time. Well,
The
that's the
hours
heart.
of your
The
life
heart
is
is what they're
disappeared, my
here.
friend. 2 hours
Yes.
is gone of your life. You're never going to get back.
Thank you, Sharon.
Bill Cristiano
Don't
for
say
it.
it like that. Well, this is why I feel so lucky. I'm so blessed because people are willing to spend the time with us, Annie.
Yeah.
Willingness to spend the time with us, right? Can you imagine? Love it. Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
Excellent. My
We
friends,
really
look,
do.
you enjoy your evening. So do come to join our event tomorrow about my friend's book. So
Mhm.
Scott's book. I have an event later in the day tomorrow where we're going to talk about, I guess it is adding humor to your presentation. So your public speaking. That's what we'll be laying. So do join us for that one as well.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to end the show with my sponsor's message, Christiana.
You are. What happened to my music?
Sponsor's message.
My
I haven't shown it
outro
yet.
music. My music.
Sponsor's message.
My sponsor message. Then my outro.
No, we'll be gone by the time the outro now, but I will end it just before the sponsor's message finishes. Thank you for your kindness, my beloved host. It's fine. Yeah.
No,
Bye,
thank you for my superstar. I always say that. He says, "Me, I'm not a superstar. Me, who me? But you are a superstar." Any.
Bye, everyone.
We love
Bye,
and appreciate
Christiana.
you.
Thank you, Christiana. Get your phones out to scan this QR code. So I'm going to show you the video about our Burnouts Reset course. I'm told now that the course is accredited, is CPD accredited now, especially if you're a health worker. So
Yay.
you're a healthcare worker, then when you do the course, then you get CPD accreditation. And it counts towards your CPD, continuous development hours. Yay. All right, so bye, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Hi, my name's Donna Martin.
Bye.
For those
Take
of you that might not
care.
be
Take
familiar
care,
with me
Carl.
yet,
Speak
I
soon.
am CEO of the Good Life Approach, and what I do is help people best to thrive in those micro moments, in those real-time moments when life happens and takes over. So this video is about me introducing you a bit to me and to what I've created in terms of the Daily Reset. This is burnout prevention course for busy individuals. Doesn't matter your profession, doesn't matter where you've come from, doesn't matter about your background, your knowledge, your skill set, any of that. What matters is where you are and where you are choosing to be. If you're somebody that is consistently coming up against it and allowing your external outer world to dictate your results, the Daily Reset will support you in bringing you back to your present moment and deciding intentionally how you choose to reset so that the impact of whatever's going on doesn't continue to impact your day. That's the power of mind shifting. That's the power of self-awareness. And that is the power of understanding who you are, how you operate in terms of your physical body function, your mechanical mind, and the spiritual soul side of you. This isn't magic, it's intentional manifesting. And those daily resets, those wins, those successes that you choose to create for your own version of the good life all start with simple, easy, go-to tools that are all packed inside the Daily Reset. Feel free, if this calls you, to check it out.